I was worried going in that we were going to jump on the one battle after another.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Visually Stunning Movie Podcast. I'm Mark. That's Ryan down there.
hey,
Ryan.
what's up?
And over there, that's Rachel from Rachel's Reviews. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. Thank you for joining us. We're going to do something a little different. We are going to talk about this past weekend. We voted as the Utah Film Critics Association for our end of year cinema awards. And like previous years, sometimes we do not match what has come before in other groups. So,
Yeah.
And there, I believe we had 18 people there voting this time, which is not a huge number, but and a little smaller for us than years past. But you would be surprised at how disparate the opinions can be amongst 18 people.
Yeah.
Yes,
But we clicked along well. I think I was proud of us.
We did do pretty well. There was no blood.
Yeah. Unlike Congress, we get things done.
That is true.
That's right. Yeah, I think it was about 90 minutes.
It was right around. I believe they said it was an organizational best.
Yes.
Instead of I think the first year I did this, it was like 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
And we've added like 5 categories.
And we've added a few categories. That's just insane.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, I did keep myself on mute for a great deal of that physical mute because we did meet in person. I only chipped in when I had to, or when Scott said something stupid.
Oh, so that was my first time as well. It's 2020. That was my first.
Yeah.
I guess it was 2021 voting.
Yeah. So a lot of groups have done their bits. And they've rewarded some movies that we did not. And we will talk about some of those. We're not going to cover all 20 categories. We're just going to hit some of the bigger ones, some of the interesting, or some of the good categories, because we had some great categories.
Yeah.
And one of them, this was actually the one I thought was going to be the one that had the most violence, but it turns out one person wasn't there to be violent about it. And that was the best animated feature.
Yes.
There is a member of our group who was adamant that we were going to vote K-pop Demon Hunters or we were all idiots. Right? So,
yeah.
And that's putting it plainly. As it turns out, what we have, it was not K-pop Demon Hunters winning. It finished second.
Yes.
To a film that most people out there listening and or watching this probably haven't heard of.
Yeah.
Little Amelie, or The Character of Rain.
Mm-hmm.
What a spectacular film.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I was going to like it for the first 10 minutes. I went, what am I watching? and then all of a sudden I was like, oh.
You're watching God in the
literally.
Yes.
In the body of a baby.
In the body of a baby.
Yeah.
So it was hilarious because there were a couple of people that I think really kind of wanted K-pop. But they weren't like super willing to, go to blows for it. What were you guys happy with this? Were you K-poppers, or were you a Little Amelie, or did you want one of our other nominees, or did you want somebody that didn't make the list?
I really like K-pop. I think it's a really fun film, but Little Amelie actually made my top 10 of the year, and I just think it's such a beautiful, as far as a film that captures childhood. It really does about as any as I've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't think this was all that close, to be honest. And it's not that I didn't like K-pop Hunters. In fact, working some conventions over the summer, just seeing the impact that the K-pop Hunters had on young people and the kind of craziness and the happiness. Right. And there were so many costumes, and we're talking like 11-year-old kids. And it was obviously an inspiring film to a lot of people, and getting to experience some of the fandom was a lot of enjoyment for me this year. But for me, there really wasn't. I think I might even have put Arco ahead of, if we are the 5 that we had. But I think the right film absolutely won on that one.
And Little Amelie, non-English.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a ton of dialogue. I mean, there's some, but
Arco also not English.
Right.
So that's weird. You had two non. Of course, Ryan loves subtitles.
I guess.
Well,
Yeah.
like really, a major hub of animation these days is out of France, and
there's a lot of those.
a lot of the really beautiful stuff is coming from France, and both of those I think are from France.
Yeah, another one that is a category that I've learned to appreciate more, even though I used to just hate it, is a documentary. I used to be like, oh, I hate documentaries so badly. And it turns out now I watch so many more without even realizing it.
This is the only category that I abstained from. I had only seen one of them, so.
Oh, and we did have 6.
Yeah, and
six nominees for this one.
You know, and having worked in news, you know, I made the comment about our runner-up. Or wait, was it? Yeah, it was a runner-up. The Perfect Neighbor, about it being more of taking what's in front of you and sticking it together and making it work. And I didn't really mean that as too much of an insult to that film, but I guess there's a part of it that's like, well, I've cut the same sort of audio and done that myself.
Yeah.
But to me, we ended up going with the Alabama Solution. I don't know that was actually my pick. Well, it wasn't. But I think documentary is a subject that, even though we try to not do this too much, sometimes what the film is about is a major factor in the voting.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, that's well, and again, but it's like that for. You stop thinking genre bias against genre film. You know, horror and sci-fi don't get a lot of awards.
And us as a group though push against that very well. Whereas I think in documentary we're still kind of in the pack where a lot of times it's what feels like the most important film.
Yeah.
And I don't know that Alabama Solution was the best of those documentaries, but it's not a bad film, and I'm not gonna get too upset over it.
Most of the documentaries, I watched quite a few actually. They just ended up going straight to streaming.
Yeah.
For some reason this year, and my favorite documentary of the year was Secret Mall Apartment, but that didn't get nominated.
But that was fun. That was absolutely
that was fun, and that was a more conventional ish documentary, but they used a lot of recreation.
Yeah.
And The Perfect Neighbor did not. Obviously, it was all police body cam.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, the Perfect Neighbor is a film that everyone should watch. It's an incredibly difficult film to watch. It's on Netflix. It is a thriller to a certain extent, and it's also I don't know if politically charged is the correct word, but there is a lot of social charge. It's a socially charged film.
Yes.
It is incredible that we do live in an age because of body cams that you can literally tell a complete story just using body cams, not having to rely on a narrator, not having to rely on reenactments or anything. So it is a tremendous film, and it is actually a film that I saw at Sundance and it stuck with me and still sticks with me. I haven't watched it since Sundance, and I don't know that I need to.
I watched it at Sundance as well, and I actually watched it with my wife on Netflix.
Yeah,
here before we voted, and she got to say it's like it is a train wreck that explodes in real time almost with these body cams.
I have a very weak stomach, so the shakiness of the body cam.
Body cams. Police body cams are not there. That's not steady cam. This is it's not a Kubrick film.
And if anyone, I've worked with a lot of, I had worked with a lot of body cam, and a lot of it is just nothing. And often, unfortunately, body cam doesn't capture the best moments or the most important moments, or but this one it had everything. Really, it was well done. So I think if you haven't seen either of those films, I can't remember which streaming service the Alabama Solution's on, but
I think it's Max.
Okay.
I think it's Max, but I could be
they're both worth a look. They're both
absolutely. The
both,
Alabama Solution
yeah.
is very good.
Yeah.
A new category we had this year is one that the Oscars finally decided, and that was stunt design, best stunt design.
Yeah.
The hard part about this question is, do you go with the single best stunt or do you go with the overall package of stunts?
That's
a tricky question.
So we had a good spread. We wound up going with Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning
and I would say that's for individual stunts.
For
like the underwater,
it's all stunts. Yeah, I mean,
and
but
the
it's
underwater sequence and on the plane. But I think if I was going overall combined stunts, I would go with Ballerina,
which wound up being number 2.
I think the problem is it actually wasn't a very good year for action stunts.
It really wasn't.
Those were like, as far as the category was intended, those were really the two stand-up films, unless we start throwing in some Asian or Korean or cinema that is non-American releases and sort of things, because there were other films that did have a fair amount of
Indian films.
Yes, exactly. Which obviously I don't know a lot of those films as well as, if at all. But I think as far as like mainstream films go, it really wasn't a great year for stunt work. I think in years past, I mean, there were the John Wick franchise in years past would have been a no-brainer, or the Fall Guy, I think, was, there's films that this feels perfect for.
Right.
Yeah.
And this year we really only had the two to pick through.
Yeah. Because I mean, as much as I loved F1, and I did,
I don't know that that's a stunt film.
Yeah, it's not a stunt movie.
Yeah, I agree.
So a lot of stunt driving, but a lot of that is CGI. So there's a lot of things. But yeah, for just straight up stunts, we had Mission Impossible and Ballerina were pretty much our choices.
I might have thrown in Nobody too. I know people don't like that, but
no, I think that's legitimate. I think that is another film that probably should have been on that list that wasn't.
I think I actually did nominate it, and it didn't.
I may have. I don't recall, because I didn't mind Nobody too. I thought it did what it wanted to do and did it fairly well. So
I enjoyed it, but I thought the stunts were actually quite, and there was like a creativity to the stunts. A little bit of
Well, because but with an old man.
Well, and they had to make it slightly silly. Because the tone of it, so there's a kind of a silliness to the stunt work, which is not necessarily easy to pull off. Otherwise, we'd have like 30,000 Jackie Chans, and we don't. So,
God, I would go to a theater with 3,000 Jackie Chans. I don't really have a problem with that. You say that like it's a bad thing, right?
No, I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think that it's the merging of comedy. Well, it goes back to slapstick humor, and it's kind of an elevated form of that, where they work in
the Thunderbolts had pretty good stunts.
Yeah, and it came out a little earlier and didn't do well enough. I think. I enjoyed it.
I do think that maybe to a certain extent, this is one of the categories where we weren't as strong in our nominations as we were in a lot of the other ones.
That could be, and we're going to have to maybe.
And I think that's on us as well.
We're going to have to pre-push next year for certain categories to remind people of films.
Yeah. Because I think there were a couple films on the list that just really didn't belong there. F1 being the most obvious, but we could do better. That's one, and we probably don't often say that enough, but we could do better for that category next year, I think.
Yeah, I think we can too. There's a bunch of geeky categories: best sound, best visual effects, editing, score. But the next one I want to talk about is the one that we never. I don't think it's as. It's one I appreciate more because it is the look of the film, and that's cinematography.
Yeah.
When you look at a movie,
this was a hard one because they were all really good.
They were good. We had F1, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, and Sinners, and Train Dreams. And everyone's like, "What? Train Dreams? Netflix, go watch it."
It's a tremendous film.
It is a tremendous film, and as it turns out, it's who won.
Yeah.
It's shot in the Pacific Northwest.
And it captures the sense of time and place over multiple decades.
Yeah.
Which is so impressive.
And it sounds like we're nerding out, and we are. But it is, you just watch it and it's just a beautiful film to watch. And that was my biggest thing. I was just, if I just look at a film and I go, man, look, we're called the Visually Stunning Movie Podcast because we make fun. It's a joke about if that's all a movie is, it's not a really good movie. Turns out Train Dreams is not just the look.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic film all the way around.
And cinematography isn't just about being pretty, but it's also about capturing the atmosphere and the tone, like the different decades and the different.
The camera should be a character that you notice when you need to.
Yeah.
And this one does it really well.
Yeah. If it was just me, I would have nominated, or I did include my nominations on Kiss of the Spider Woman. I love the cinematography. I thought the cinematography.
I'm shocked that you loved the musical. I'm shocked that you love the musical.
I did, but I thought the cinematography, even if it was really good.
I think it is. It sometimes the movie experience is like the cinematography may be great, but that gets hurt maybe by the rest of the film. And for me, that just wasn't a great film. Kiss of the Spider Woman. I don't know that it was as I don't know that it was as bad as maybe its reputation is.
Yeah, I was surprised that it bombed as bad as it did.
Yeah, I don't know that there's an appetite to see J-Lo in those films.
I don't think there is. Honestly, I think that was the problem.
Yeah. But I don't know that the musical that we, or somewhat of a musical that we all liked, the Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson. Yeah, I don't know that that's doing that well either.
No.
So really not. Musicals have always been kind of some breakthrough, and a lot just seem to underperform.
And they're trying to hide them when they are musicals.
Yes, yeah.
But Train Dreams was a very worthy winner for cinematography. Yeah. I think Sinners as a runner-up was also very worthy.
Yeah,
so great.
Ryan, you've been in the association the longest.
Yeah, great.
No, can you just really quick explain the Vice Martin Award?
Okay, Vice Martin. So we had a couple of members of the film critics group that have passed away over the years, and both of them had a love for genre films. And it's a love for genre films that I think a lot of us in the Utah Film Critics Association share. I think we've been, I don't know, a lot of us grew up during the boom of the 80s, when Spielberg and Lucas really kind of took over, and I think we kind of have always felt like genre films weren't getting the recognition that they deserved. So the Vice Martin Award was a tribute to our old friends. As well as a way for us to make sure that we do get some genre film representation in our voting. It seems to sneak in anyway, but this it is very much a homage to people that were a really important part of the group and were really important among the geek community. For what they did. So the award is kind of to highlight performances in genre films that might otherwise go overlooked. So
I was just glad that we didn't give it to the dog.
Hold on. So best performance in a science fiction, fantasy, or horror film.
I wouldn't
need the dog made the cut.
Well, here's the thing, and I love that, and I love the dog's performance, but there is a certain tongue-in-cheek element to that because the dog never really knew it was in a film. The real art of that film was the directing and editing. If you want to know the truth, if you've seen some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, where they're doing squeaky toys and all sorts of stuff, and then juxtaposition. There was a lot of film craft that was used to make the film, and as much as I love the dog in it and love his particular performance, I do think it probably would have been a disservice to the award to give it to Indy.
And that's fair enough. But this was a category we had a tie.
Yes.
Yeah. So Alfie Williams from 28 Years Later and Amy Madigan from Weapons. My only issue, I have no problem with Amy Madigan in Weapons. beautiful, beautiful performance. My problem is that I wanted Ray Fiennes in this category for 28 years later.
Yeah, I think
yeah, that would have been my choice.
I think next year it is.
Well, next year I think it's best lead actor.
It could be that
maybe
too.
It's early.
Yeah,
it's only January. But at the very least, he's going to sneak in.
Yes,
and Tobias Martin.
And I think that is an argument that could be made about that film. But I think that Alfie was the core of that film. Whereas we had also just seen Bone Temple, and so I think it's right on the top of our minds, I think. And it's a phenomenal genre film as far as I'm concerned. But yes, I think next year he's a front runner, if not for the main category, for this category.
Yeah, absolutely. Another, I believe this is the second year we've had this one, was best ensemble cast. Now this provoked some serious discussion about what constitutes the best ensemble.
Yeah,
because some of us wanted it to be the best cast that was put together, and some of us, me, argued that, but you want to see those people together in some way, shape, or form, because an ensemble works together. And so together to me is it's not. It wasn't a deal breaker, but it was important to see some of these characters together. So there was some discussion about that. And we had a pretty good thing. We had one battle after another. Sentimental Value, which is a foreign film, which some of us just absolutely loved.
I loved it.
I love
Sinners, Wake Up Dead Man, and Warfare, which got a lot of love.
My fear with the Wake Up Dead Man, and I said this, was that it would be voted on because it had the most famous people, not necessarily the best ensemble.
Well, and I would have been happy to give the ensemble award to other Knives Out mystery films based on the years that they came out with. The first one probably might have been even why we ended up having this award.
That might be, or
to a certain extent.
Discussion.
Yeah. So, but I think it can be either or. I think sometimes you will have films where they're all together in a place. We had a few of those films this year. But I do think it's hard to argue when you look at, Sinners did have a pretty tremendous across the board cast.
And they were together a huge chunk of the time. But again, so it's ironic. Our winner and our runner-up were both casts that spent a lot of time together.
Yeah, but I could argue that I thought Sorry Babies cast also worked really, really well.
It did, but it's such a small cast.
But but does that matter? And I don't know. I think,
but like, I wouldn't necessarily need them to be physically together. Like, for instance, if the Phoenicians game, for instance, like that had a pretty good ensemble, but they weren't like.
See, and to go against my own argument, I actually nominated A House of Dynamite.
Yeah.
Where no one's on the screen together.
Yeah.
But they're all talking. They are all interacting. Yeah. So it's kind of like being together. I
think it's a category where you're going to be we're going to be filling it out. But the thing about it is a lot of these categories and where it really comes out is supporting actor and whatnot. The debate over what is a supporting role, what is an ensemble film, what is a
the tricky, and I'm sympathetic to Scott and his complaints about that. But the thing is you kind of have to go with whatever the Academy has decided. Otherwise, it's going to be total chaos.
Or even what the studios put them out as. And
it's hard because there are certain things that that are clearly being promoted in a way that it's because they know that they can't.
Category fraud. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, Jason. It doesn't make sense to me, Jacob Elordi, when he literally has half of the movie that's focused on him and from his perspective. He's not a supporting performer.
No.
But, what are you going to do?
If anything, he's a co-lead.
Well, and then the thing
is literally half the movie is labeled for his character, and
So it's and that's where things get a little hard, and
but you kind of have to just go with what the Academy's going. Otherwise, everybody will be submitting different names and under different categories, and be a mess.
It would be a mess.
And I don't know if that's something in the process of figuring out what is what, it probably is more work than it's worth. I don't know.
Yeah.
Scott would disagree.
Scott would definitely disagree. He would be like,
So-
"No, you will have. Then it will be straightened out. You idiots."
Yeah. Yeah.
So speaking of,
look, and to be clear, I want to be clear. I love Scott, and I love that. I love that he sticks. Like there are things that are that Scott will not bend, and I think that is actually the kind of critic he is, and it's actually I admire him a lot. I don't agree with him all the time. But I admire Scott's. There's a pureness to the way he approaches these awards, and that I think has been lost by a lot of awards.
Yeah.
And I greatly appreciate his presence, even if I don't always agree with him, or I always, what he likes in any given year is going to be different than what most people like, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't always agree that like more time means it's not necessarily supporting. Like I think that Kieran Culkin, that was correct to put him in supporting, because I just think the whole like purpose of his character and catalyst of his character was about supporting the Jesse Eisenberg character.
Sure.
Even though he was technically on screen a lot, he was
the secondary character.
Yeah, he was the secondary character. So it's a tricky thing.
It is.
So let's I know Rachel's got another thing she's got to do. No, she's got another thing she's got to do. So there's only things left.
I got 20 minutes.
So speaking of category creep and whatnot, none of these I think creeped or anything like that. The big four: best supporting performances, male and female, and best lead performances, male and female. I think we made some good choices as a group.
Yeah.
My only complaint, and it's not even really a complaint, my only issue was with Rose Byrne as our runner-up for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, because I didn't care for the film, but I understand that she was really good in it. And it's that whole, do you like this documentary because the subject matters more, or do you reward films that you personally enjoyed more, when you're talking about this stuff? So it's like, yeah, she was good, but I don't know that the film was that good.
Brendan Fraser and The Whale. I
wasn't on board with The Whale, and I love Brendan Fraser.
I hated that movie, and the thing that and I didn't hate If I Had Legs, but it was not my favorite. But the thing that I think that's tricky is sometimes it can be the loudest performance is therefore somehow always seems like the best. Like just because someone's giving like a big performance doesn't necessarily mean it's the best.
That's true.
Well, I think this is also a category where, as a film group, we have been very supportive of Rose Byrne in general. We love Rose Byrne, and I think that, to be completely honest, we do have a bias towards Rose Byrne, and I think that plays out a little bit.
Is she from Utah or something, or what?
No, I don't. I don't. It's just no. It's just something that, over the years, that we've always been a huge, even before she was kind of a name, for whatever reason, and I have to admit that I am part of this aspect of just admiring her as a performer, and she gets nominated almost every year, because I think that there is just such a love for her work. And I think we have to sometimes acknowledge that we do have at least somewhat of a bias towards certain things. And that might be, Rose Byrne is probably an actress who, we give I love her, but I did not vote for her in this category. I like the film too, more than I think some people did. But I think we went with Jessie Buckley, which has been the popular decision.
Yep.
But sometimes the popular decision is popular for a reason. And I love what she did in the film. I love the film itself as well, for its witchiness, its kind of paganism meets classical literature. I don't know. It's just a magical film for me that I really enjoyed, and she's absolutely part of the reason, and probably the predominant reason, that I love that film. So
it was I I appreciated the film. And Jessie Buckley, I've been a huge fan of her since Wild Rose. So
Yeah.
any awards we can give her.
Right.
Yeah.
She's underappreciated, I think. But we had Amy Madigan double dipping, best supporting performance.
Yeah, look at that.
For Weapons, which great. Of the two, I would have taken. No, I took Amy Madigan. Who am I kidding?
I think
Musaku was great in Sinners.
Yeah. And I think what is interesting is, Sinners is really a genre film as well. It may not have been necessarily presented as such, and maybe kind of hid the fact that it was a genre film to a certain extent, which is fine because it is part of the film and the reveal and whatnot.
Yep.
But again, I think this is a case where we're a group of people who have a great appreciation for genre films that are done well.
I like Sinners. I just think it became a genre film too late. Like it took too long.
Sinners was not my top 10. I do have a great.
It was good. I liked it.
Yeah. So but anyway, but Weapons. I think there was particularly the ending of that film and the chaos that it, because a film needs to end well, particularly when it's a horror film. That's where horror films usually stumble, and Weapons actually ratcheted up. I think it actually got better, and I think so. Awarding Weapons, I think it's a film that deserved to be awarded, and again, I think we picked the character and the actress who kind of made the film memorable to a certain extent.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. And if you check lead performance, we had Michael B. Jordan for Sinners. He played two roles.
Two roles.
If you haven't seen the film.
3 roles.
But we talked about Train Dreams. Joel Edgerton, number 2, because everything that Michael B. Jordan does loudly, in Sinners, Edgerton is just quiet.
Yeah.
What does he say? 200 words in the movie?
I don't know, but it's
not a lot.
Yeah.
No, but his character
100%. He does so much physically. It's amazing.
And again, this is one of those things where I think we could have gone either way. There's a lot of these that like I don't. Some years, I would complain about some of the things, but that's just because that's the nature of it. But
most years I'm not that psyched about the winner, which is fine. But we'll talk about the winner. But this year was kind of fun to be on the other side.
I was surprised that some people. I mean, look, Chalamet was unbelievably my second choice.
Yeah.
If you listen to us for any length of time, you know what that means.
You love that. You love that.
Yeah, he's my favoriteest ever. He is not.
No, he's not. No, that's why I'm saying you hate him usually.
I like with the passion, the fury of 1,000 suns.
And so the fact that you really liked him in something was
liked him in Marty
noteworthy.
Supreme, and I don't know why, because objectively, I don't know that the movie's that good, but it's just wrong enough to be a movie that I can enjoy.
Mm.
And because he's not being Timothée Chalamet in it, I think that's why I like him.
Yeah, maybe.
I think
he's a fine actor, but I think there's diminishing returns when it comes to what we're seeing. And
I think he was. Yeah, I think he was good in it, but I wasn't a big fan.
Yeah, I was. I don't like. There's a lot I don't like about that film. That a lot of people love for the reasons I don't like it. So
I didn't hate it, but I just didn't. And it didn't come together for me.
So then we get to the last two, the biggest two, obviously they're ones that everyone cares about, that they stay awake for the Oscars for. Director and picture.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, UFCA does not award any of the movies that we've been talking about.
No, we did what I think I'm included in the people who think that this was the best film that I saw all of last year.
Yes.
And
Sorry Baby.
Sorry Baby won both Best Picture and Best Director.
Yep.
I would argue the screenplay may have also deserved a win. I just thought it was. It did it?
Yes,
okay,
it did.
Good.
We did.
Okay,
I skipped screenplay. It did win screenplay.
Good. Okay, well then it absolutely deserved that. I think this was a film that was beautiful. I think it was a film that dealt with, it's a sexual assault recovery film that is about the character and not the sexual assault. And I
Yep.
think that in and itself was a tremendous decision and choice.
It's a good
I
way
was
to describe it.
I was completely blown away by the film. When I was, in fact, I saw it and was angry that I didn't see it at Sundance.
Yeah,
Because I felt like, you know what, I could have saw this great film and I didn't. And that's just the
right.
nature of Sundance. But there was this kind of jealousy that I wish I could have seen this, early on in the year and have carried that film with me. It's just one of the I could never make that movie, but I really wish I could make that movie.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just it's so effective on so many levels. A couple years ago we had Past Lives, and it was the same way. It's not a big splashy movie, but it was incredibly well written. It was incredibly well directed. It was incredibly well acted, and we wound up giving it screenplay and directing and picture.
I just I
Yeah, I
love the
was
film.
thrilled because I did see it at Sundance and I loved it. And it's one of the only movies I saw twice in the theater this year because I usually don't have time to do that. I saw F1, I saw, and I saw Sorry Baby twice, and I just loved it. I thought it was so well done, and like it was. I said in our group chat that I felt like it was authentically awkward
Mm-hmm.
in the
That's
way
not another
that
bad way to put it.
Well,
the way that human beings are.
So of our winners, what winner do you think has been underappreciated this year that people need to go see, or
Well,
what do you really feel like we missed out on?
Well,
like
I don't know. I think Sorry Baby has flown under the radar a bit, and I understand to a certain degree why. I was worried going in that we were going to jump on the one battle after another.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the thing is I don't think that's a bad movie, but it wasn't a movie that did anything for me really. It was well made. It was, you could argue that it was a return to form, or for Paul Thomas Anderson, after some stumbles, but it's not his best film by any stretch of the imagination. It was, had a good friend who described it, not, in the sense that it's not top shelf, but it's solid. And I absolutely agree with that. But so it kind of, when you see people going bonkers over it at all the award shows and things, I was afraid that we were going to follow suit with that, because there is I think there was at least a fair amount of people in the room who did think that it was one of the best films of the year, whereas
it was not. I was on the downside of that movie.
It wasn't in my, really even considered for my top 10.
Yeah. I liked the kind of the exploration of Leonardo DiCaprio's character becoming this sort of fuddy-duddy dad. That was interesting, but it was a very messy movie, and I felt like Sean Penn's character felt like he was from a totally different film, in my opinion. But I liked it. I enjoyed it. But I would have loved to have seen us give something to sentimental value, because I just thought that was excellent.
I don't disagree with that, and I think Surratt maybe, as an experience for me for sound design and score, might have been something that I thought that film was incredibly,
and for trauma-inducing incidents.
Sure, yes,
or Rebecca.
The other one I would have loved to have seen something is The Naked Gun, like a true comedy, because I thought that movie was so funny. And to have seen, I think a real inspired nomination would have been Pamela Anderson for supporting. But those kind of true comedies usually aren't given, recognized in awards. And but that made my top 5 of the year. I really thought it was one of the funniest movies I've seen.
Yeah,
so.
and I agree with Sorry Baby, and for me it was if it's not Sorry Baby, then it's probably Train Dreams, because that's just a movie you can just sit down. You literally can watch it in your house. Just sit down, dim the lights a little bit, just sit back and that's a movie you just get to experience. You just get to be there with this guy and experience for 90 minutes, 100 minutes, however long it is. And I think that's something a lot of people might actually enjoy if they let themselves do it.
I think it's more of a classic sort of film too. I think it has the, I think we've moved a little away from prestige, and I think that's
it kind of has the feeling of like an early Terrence Malick movie, I think.
Yeah, Malick. I love Malick when he's good. When he's bad, he's pretty terrible, unfortunately. But yes, this, I think that the visual, the intimacy, the kind of there's a pain that is underneath the surface of this film that is never really spoken, but it's really felt, and I think that's powerful filmmaking.
And I think that Hamnet and Train Dreams are very similar, actually.
I wouldn't. Yes,
similar tones, similar themes, similar character arcs, but I would choose Train Dreams.
And I'm a Shakespeare person. I grew up doing.
I mean, I like both.
And yeah, the reason I would take Train Dreams over Hamnet is because I think Train Dreams is just a lot more accessible.
And that may be, but what was interesting, and Hamnet was what came in second for us for Best Picture. And what was interesting to me is, one of the main reasons why I do love Shakespeare is because of my mother, and she introduced me to Shakespeare very early in my life. And she finally got to go see the film last week. And what kind of amazed me was it was almost sold out.
Oh, that's great.
Wow.
And that made me actually feel really kind of good about at least cinema in Salt Lake in Utah.
Yeah. Right.
The fact that, that particular film was, and they go to like the early evening showings, like a 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. Right. So it's not necessarily the prime time either. And so that hearing that actually made me feel pretty good about people going to theaters and things.
Was that at the Broadway? Do you know?
No. It was at Jordan Commons.
Oh, cool.
So
it's kind of cool that our winner and runner-up are both directed by women.
Yeah, I think that's very cool. And I think that, they're women's stories, and I think that's again, the caveat for me always, when it's not really a caveat, but I grew up. My mother was a single parent until I was, 11 years old. So I've always been drawn to powerful female characters, which is part of the reason why I love Star Wars as much as I did. Princess Leia. I saw a lot of my mom's best friend in Princess Leia and that sort of thing. So I think that it is wonderful to see strong female characters, and now female directors who are finally getting as much attention as the male.
And while the attention is always a good thing, and for me, it always just boils back to the guess what? You made a good movie.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Right.
Well,
I don't care who you are. If you have made a good movie, I am going to appreciate the hell out of it.
And I think that we're getting closer to that. I think there was a time where, a female, I don't know.
It's symbolic of opportunities.
Yeah.
That they are getting the opportunity to make said good movies.
Yes.
Not necessarily they're being rewarded because
let's be clear. Women make a lot of shitty movies, and so do men.
And men
and yet we keep getting them foisted on us. So just look, I don't understand how studios don't get this. It's like, dude, let the people that make you money make the movies.
Yeah.
Just because this guy you play golf with or squash with, it's like, dude, he's losing you money. I don't understand how in such I don't understand how an industry can be that self-destructive.
That is, though.
I don't get it. It's like,
it's easy to want to help your friends, but
if I'm going to lose millions of dollars doing it, I
think it's even. I don't even think it's a money thing. It's we see a lot of directors that get recycled who have never really made a great film, and maybe they made a couple films that made a lot of money, but they've never, they weren't the reason why those films made money, or there's a lot of factors that go into it. Whereas I think, as a film critics group, our intention is to award good filmmaking,
good work,
and I think in a lot of cases we're not afraid to give a film that we feel like is underrepresented. Um, and I think that that's one of the things that I actually really enjoy about the group. Over the years, we have done, numerous times where we have given the award to films that no one else or very few other people gave the same amount of attention to.
Yeah,
And
animated films, things like that.
so I
Indeed.
think that, and again, this maybe goes back to, there is a purity, I think, and I know that's a kind of a strange word to use, but I think that we approach awards in a slightly different way. I mean, we're not Los Angeles, we're not flashy. Whoever we give awards to, it's not going to end up on the front page of,
Right.
and very few people are going to reference what we did. Although I think a lot of people do look to see what we do, just because we have a reputation for being a little outside of the box. But I like that, and I think
Me
that,
too.
I do too. But we don't do it to do it. We do it because
No.
those are the films that we feel.
And we continue to do that, and as the membership has changed, there is always a concern of, okay, is this going to shift?
It hasn't,
and it hasn't. And I think that, again, it kind of goes back to some of our the people who've been in the group for as long as they have. It's strange to think that I've been there for over 15 years, but anyway.
So as we wrap this up,
absolutely,
Rachel, real quick, tell everyone where they can find your various and sundry work.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You can find me at Rachel's Reviews all over the place, film and theater, and also right now at KSL Movie Show every Friday. So check it out. And Hallmarkies Podcast.
There you go. And thank you much for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much.
If you want to see our whole list, go to utahfilmcritics.com and you can see our entire list of winners, see the whole list of nominees that we had, and other stuff. We're going to be El Presidente is going to be putting more stuff up there, from what I understand. So thanks for listening. Don't forget to like us, follow us on social media. You know how all that works. Go to the website, vsmoviepodcast.com. Find links to all of our stuff there. Like us, follow us, share us, all that good stuff.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. Yes. Thank you, Rachel.
Bye.
Anytime we talk
again, I am Mark. That's Ryan. Bye, Ryan.
See ya.
We'll talk to you all later.